Yeah.
Just silence and then us
No,
going.
he edits while we're recording. He has like a 2-second window in which he can chop stuff up.
I wish. That'd make it
With an actual knife. He uses a knife to chop it up.
It's like in
a
that
digital
Simpsons
knife.
episode. That Simpsons episode where Homer's doing a voice for a cartoon, and he's like, "Oh, is this being recorded live?" No, Homer. When we animate live, it hurts the animator's hands too much. Welcome to another episode of HeyPoorPodcast. I'm Jay Petriquin, and this week I'm joined by Dead Pixels.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And Trevor.
San Dimas High School football rules!
And our German correspondent, Marius.
Guten Tag.
And our new official member of the crew, Andrew.
Hello, all.
Andrew appeared last time sort of as just being in my house at the time and jumping on halfway through. But he's part of the
And
crew.
raging. He was raging last time.
Yeah, he came in to rage about Rayman Legends.
So hey,
Oh.
that means
kinda
anybody
like-
who wants to join the podcast, just go visit Jay's house.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and rage about video games.
Yeah,
Just-
get really mad about Rayman and know some stuff about Skylanders, and you're pretty much golden.
There you go.
But yeah, Andrew has actually been doing stuff for the site through social media stuff, just as I've been doing the Tumblr stuff. He's actually been doing a lot of stuff for us on Reddit. He's been working really hard, and we all really appreciate you doing that. And he's becoming a writer now, which is pretty neat. So look out for his stuff soon. But this week on the podcast, we've got a whole bunch of stuff to catch up on. Obviously, it's been like 2 months since we recorded last. So we've got some big topics to discuss, some things that have been announced but we feel like are still relevant. Going to be talking about some PS4, some SimCity catastrophes, some other stuff. Marius has got a whole bunch of other topics too. So we've got plenty of stuff to go over. So let's go ahead and jump right in with PS4. So this was obviously a good month and a half ago by now. You know, it was a big conference. Everyone was talking about it. We're obviously late to the game, but let's go ahead. What are people's thoughts on the PS4?
I just want to start off by saying that the Cell processor was so powerful and so much the future that the PS4 is going back to an x86 based processor.
Tech jokes. But no, like,
I actually did like a lot of what I saw from the PS4. The only thing I didn't like is for the past year or so I've been kind of weighing my options of whether or not to buy a PS3. But since they've pretty much confirmed that PS3 games will not be compatible with the PS4, there's literally no reason to buy a PS3 anymore. Well, they did say it was not compatible, but you can like buy them through their digital download service or whatever.
oh, really? I
Yeah,
thought you could.
that's what I heard.
Yeah, the big push is they're going to try to have the whole PlayStation catalog supported by Gakkai
Yeah, I heard
on the
about
cloud.
PS2 stuff. Huh. All right. Well, yeah, that's interesting. I'm definitely. I don't have a PS3. I've never had one. I think for me, even without a huge amount of stuff, because we saw some interesting stuff for the PS4. Nothing really groundbreaking. Kind of remind me of the Wii U's launch, where okay, there's some cool stuff. Nothing particularly defining for the system so far.
Yeah, it's
But I
pretty
think
much just
just-
like
So,
where are the games?
Well, they're there.
so
There's-
guys,
yeah.
I have a question. I didn't see a PS4. I only saw a controller. Where is it?
Oh my God. Who cares? Like. So many people have brought up the where's the box debate. Who cares? We know what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look like a box. 'Cause that's what
Black
that's what video
box.
consoles
Probably
look
going to
like.
be rectangular and black.
Yeah.
So, and what if it's a ball? All of you are going to be shocked.
That'd be sweet.
I can't
cute.
wait to see your faces.
The cube like the Ouya. You can just
Yeah.
Tetris that shit. Oh man, what if they did that? What if they came out with a console that was like Tetris shapes? Like every console came out with a different like Tetris shaped one. So I have a Wii U and a PS4 and an Xbox 720. I can just fit them all together. That'd be cool. Sorry, I went off a total tangent there.
And then
It's okay.
they are all going to
Just
burn.
don't clear a line, you might break all your shit.
One of them would be those stupid squigglies, so it'll never stand up straight.
Yeah.
Nintendo would come out with that.
Of course
Yeah,
they would.
probably.
We are firm believers in squiggly line technology. Okay.
And kidney bean shaped buttons, no less.
Like on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every button's a different color, different shape.
Different flavor.
C-stick, nipple stick.
And yet it worked.
Snozberries taste like snozberries.
All right, but yeah, so PS4 controller. Obviously, we didn't see the box, whatever. But the controller, clearly, pretty much the same as the PS3 controller. But I don't think we were asking for that much new.
Well, there was one big difference, and this big difference is a single button and a touchpad. The touchpad is obviously going to be used in a lot of new games, but this new button is a stream button, which you're going to be streamed instantly to the internet, which I would think is a pretty bad choice to put this on the controller and not into a menu, because let's say we are Japanese and we are playing the new Death or Alive game, beach volleyball. And you know what those guys are doing? And while they are doing it, the controller falls down. Recorded, including the webcam on the TV. Everyone is seeing it, and it's connected to the social media.
Marius, I have to ask why this is your first thought.
Why?
What do you think he plans to do with it? Oh God.
It doesn't sweat. He's German. He doesn't care.
It's true.
It needs to
I've
sweat.
been joking around with my friends about that stuff, so I had to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are going to see a lot of terrible YouTube videos and stuff. But I mean, I think people are blowing it a little out of proportion as to how bad the influx of shitty videos of 13-year-olds playing Call of Duty are going to be, because we already get those. Like, any asshole with a free download of Minicam or whatever can friggin' record themselves playing Minecraft, or when I was like 13 or 14, I would do that with Pokemon ROMs. So like I think it already exists. This is another way to do it. I think having it as an actual button is kind of just a marketing thing. Like, they just want to show, this is our new thing we're doing with it.
Well, you can't cut out the fact that it's going to be a lot more convenient than using a capture card and everything. Now anybody can share their gameplay, and that's great. I mean, yeah, sure, people are concerned we're going to see a whole influx of shitty videos, but the fact that really, people are going to be able to promote their stuff now, they're going to be able to share it with everybody. That's cool. That's a step towards streamlining and letting everybody get involved, and I like that.
Yeah,
it won't be good for people which are currently doing this stuff professionally on YouTube, because you can't export the video to your computer. You have to straight upload it to social media sites or YouTube, which is pretty bad because many people are editing the stuff before they upload it.
That's exactly the point I was going to hit on, because I pretty much do the same thing on my YouTube channel, and I always record and then edit it. And the only option is to just straight upload it. But I think a lot of the people who do it professionally probably aren't even going to use that kind of feature on the PS4. And from what I've seen, I mean, there's still, like Jay said, there's still a lot of really bad Let's Play videos posted on YouTube, but you hardly don't see them because they're not as popular, because people who actually watch Let's Plays have a pretty high standard of quality of what they want, and they'll either dislike the videos or like enough good videos to where the bad ones won't show up in search anyway.
Let me ask this. Do we know, we know in addition to being able to stream gaming, the system's able to record the last, I think, 15 minutes of gameplay. Can it just put that onto an SD card or something? Because if you can have a way to export that data onto some external data source, then you can just put it on your computer and edit it from there. I don't see that being much of a problem in that case. Do we know if it has capability to use an SD card or anything like that?
I
don't know if it does for that purpose. They haven't revealed as much, I don't believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it has like a flash drive port, it should be a workaroundable problem.
But you know how Sony handles data. Just look at the PS Vita and how you can transfer stuff from one card to the other card. Yeah. It's a mess, and I don't think they're figuring out you can export movies.
Yeah, and knowing Sony, they probably force you to use their stupid memory stick instead of an actual, good technology like SD or flash or USB flash drives.
For $80 a gig or whatever astronomical figure they charge.
Those memory sticks are literally awful.
But controller aside and the share button aside, what did you guys think of the games?
What games?
I mean, because that's the one thing I did like about the actual reveal, is they did show a great deal of software.
They did. I just didn't find any particularly memorable.
The biggest problem of all the PS4 games announced combined is they are all going to launch on the PS3. Not only on the PS4, also on the PS3. They are multi-platform.
I only heard that with one or two games. We know that with Diablo 3.
Destiny, was it?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a multi-platform thing anyway. Like that's even going across iOS and stuff. That's kind of a whole different deal.
Right.
As far as I know, it's just Destiny and Diablo 3.
Watch Dogs.
I'm pretty
is also
sure
Alright.
Assassin's Creed 4 is also going to be on
Yeah.
the current gen
Alright.
console. So I mean, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, and Diablo 3. That
Yeah.
Knax is also on both.
No, Knack is going
is
to be PS4, and that's going to have crossplay with Vita.
No, it's also going to be released on the PS3, I've heard.
You sure about that?
I don't think I read that anywhere.
Yeah, because that was one of their leading things as to prove like what the PS4 could do.
Right.
What I freaking loved was Square Enix comes out, and it's one thing that they had that whole thing of where they just say, hey, we're at this conference and we're very excited for you to see our new Final Fantasy game at E3 in 2 months, and then they just ended it. But
Yeah.
in addition to that, they showed a trailer, like a concept trailer, which when they first started showing that, I thought this sure looks familiar. And the trailer they showed, I don't know if you guys saw it. It was a very beautiful trailer. It looks very good, but they showed it at, I believe, E3 or GDC last year.
Yeah.
It's unchanged from then. It still looks great. I was impressed with it then, and I am now, but it's from a year ago and unchanged. They presented it as a new thing for some strange reason.
Well, I can't wait to see it a third time at E3.
I know.
There you go.
Again. But yeah, and there was, oh man, there were some other things. There was a game that looked like Skyrim. I couldn't be bothered to remember its name.
Well, I'm putting my money on Deep Down being Dragon's Dogma 2, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
looking fantastic. I mean, I know it's all concept, but I got a huge kick out of Dragon's Dogma. I think that was the best random game that Capcom's put out in quite a while. I didn't even think they expected it to pick up the way it did, but yeah, I mean, I'm sorry?
Oh no, I was just gonna say it only really did because everyone was buying it because it had a Resident Evil 6 demo early, and then everyone was discovering, oh wait, this is actually a good game, and then a better game than Resident Evil 6.
It's like
Dragon?
Crackdown. No one bought Crackdown because of Crackdown. They bought it because it had a Halo 3 beta.
Yeah.
And then they
Or
found
so-
out, oh yeah, this Crackdown game is actually pretty good.
Going back even further, Zone of the Enders, which I thought was complete trash, but goddamn, that Metal Gear Solid 2 demo was great. I didn't know a single person who bought Zone of the Enders for Zone of the Enders.
It's the same with the Dragon Quest game on PS2. They all bought it because of the Final Fantasy demo.
Yeah, they were like, oh wait, my $60 demo came with a game. Well, that's pretty neat. But yeah, so that's PS4. Like I can't even think of. I feel like more stuff that was impressive came out at that conference that we're forgetting. But overall,
I like a lot of the media stuff part about it because I think it's cool. Like say Jay's stuck on a part of the game. I can take over for Jay, beat that part for him, and then he can continue on. And it's like, oh yeah, thanks
for saving my ass.
But if
Andrew.
Are
Next
any
to,
of
like,
you guys
connections-
concerned that they're kind of talking up Gakai's capabilities? Because I really don't think we have the online infrastructure to support what they're talking about right now.
Well, they do in Japan, we don't in America.
Right.
Give us the rundown. What exactly are the details of this? Because I'm a little fuzzy on this. It's been a while.
Well, they're talking about Gakai supporting the entire PlayStation catalog on the cloud. They're talking about being able to watch what your friends are playing through their gamer cards, jumping into people's games, controlling it for them to get them past a difficult part. Like, it just seems like it sounds so ambitious. It sounds so wonderful. It sounds completely fucking impossible.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
That was my first impression of it, but
I'll
we'll
have
see.
to wait and see. And again, I'm sure it will rely on a lot of people's internet infrastructure, which actually will lead into a later topic of ours. But I'm interested to see where things go with that. Overall, though, what are you guys' thoughts? Are you excited for the PS4? Are you hesitant? Are you hating everything that comes out about it?
I think I'm in the minority where I know a lot of people are all, I have to buy another box. Oh, it's too soon. Guys, it's been 7 fucking years.
Yeah,
I'm ready for a new system. The new generation has to start. I think it's going to be less about graphics and more about the games now and more about the online infrastructure.
As it should be.
As it should be. And I'm really excited to see what comes. I don't know. In my opinion, this fall can't come soon enough. I'm dying for the new Xbox. I'm dying for the PS4. And even if there's no killer app that I need to have right now, I just think it's time.
I don't like the PS4 because of one reason. It doesn't have innovation. And before you people start saying, oh no, it has online, it is not innovation if you buy another company and put it into your system. That's not innovation, that's recycling.
Don't tell Apple
Recycling
that.
and innovating.
But it's about the games. It's not about
Exactly.
innovation. I mean,
But that's my main selling point. I want innovation in a new system. All they did was get higher specs and bought the company.
Well,
And
here's the thing. Or no, go ahead.
the main thing I want in the next generation, which probably isn't not going to happen so soon, is virtual reality. That's the same reason why I backed Oculus Rift on Kickstarter, and I can't wait to get my hands on my development kit.
Yeah, here's the thing about that is I agree. Obviously, innovation is what great games strive on. I think that's really more up to the games that come out on the platform than the platform defines the games, but the games also define the platform. Because I mean, look at the Wii. The Wii, in a lot of ways, forced a certain kind of innovation on their developers. It forced motion gaming into most of its games, with exceptions here and there. And some people would argue that was to its detriment. I would not be beyond agreeing with that. And I think then you have something like the PS4 or even the PS3 where they have the Move, but they have the poor controller. You have the options there. And the thing with the Wii was they marketed that. There's one thing to have innovation in a console, but there's another to have innovation like the Wii did, where they marketed that innovation, and that's what they rode on the whole time. And so no game without that innovation did that well because they were just marketing the motion controls the whole time. So I see what you're saying, but I think in the end it's better if we just leave it up to the game developers to innovate.
Well, yeah, but like I'm saying, game developers can't decide to make a game in virtual reality without a virtual reality helmet.
I mean, that's true. I don't know. I see your point. I still think the console doesn't matter quite as much as how the developers apply themselves to it. I don't know.
And plus, I mean, you talk about headsets, you talk about the Wiimote. Essentially, what it all boils down to is we're speaking about peripherals. Okay, right. We're talking about input devices. I'm in it for the games, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Same, yeah.
What do you think, Trevor? You've been quiet.
I'm more of a wait and see. Like, this is the first gaming console generation where I'm not excited about any of them. I'm pretty happy with my Xbox. I can play GTA 5 this fall when it comes out on it, and nothing I've seen from any of the consoles, even the Wii U, has really wowed me enough to want to plop down $400 or $500 on a box.
That's understandable, I think. I'm very interested in the PS4. I think I am probably gonna get it not long after launch, but only because there's a lot of PS3 games I want to play because I never had a PS3 and there's a lot of stuff I feel like I've missed out on. But yeah, I can see that definitely. Like personally, I'm more interested in this than in the hypothetical next Xbox, which again we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested in this. I think this and the Wii U. Again, I think it's just more about the games that we see come out for them than the systems themselves. That's going to be what sort of defines this generation. Andrew, what are your thoughts?
Well, I saw it first. I think it looks pretty good, but again, it's more a wait and see thing. And as much as I'm not really excited for it, I'm more excited for it than I am the next Xbox. But we'll get to that later.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's why a lot of people are curbing their enthusiasm too. Is really Microsoft hasn't put its cards on the table yet. Right. Until we actually know what Sony's up against this fall, it's really hard to say really which way you were going to go. I mean, I don't know. I think that after we see Microsoft's stable of games, I think that people are going to get a little more excited for what's coming.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that.
I have to say something else about the console. I'm going to buy it because of Atlas, because Atlas is mainly developing their games for Sony platforms.
Yeah, I agree, actually. I've been getting a lot more into Atlas games in the last year, and that's actually a pretty big swaying point for me.
I don't know. I disagree with that one. Our PR feed's constantly blown up with Nintendo and Atlas collaborations on the 3DS, really. I mean, they've put out more on the 3DS than they've put on a Sony platform in probably the past 10 years.
That's true, but when you're talking console games and the eventual Persona 5, which will probably be a PS4 game. Although I did hear rumors
Persona 5 is probably going to be a PS3 game, because they already are developing it for 2 years now.
That's true. I mean, it's been this long we haven't seen anything, but that's a whole other discussion, I guess.
I actually have a question for you guys. Now that the PS4 has been announced and rumors about the new Xbox are out, this means the last generation is over. So who do you think has won the last generation?
Microsoft, hands down.
Microsoft.
Probably Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, Sony gave it a good run towards the end, but overall, I think Microsoft won.
Sony really surprised me in the last, 2 years, but Microsoft had a good 4 years of amazing before that, and they continued to be pretty good for most of that final 2 years.
Yeah, Sony just took way too long to get started.
Exactly.
Well, and you can attribute a lot of that to the $599 US that it came out at. I mean,
I'm scared to see the PS4 price, to be honest.
Oh.
No, they'll never make that mistake again.
Didn't they release a price? Like, it was only going to be like $430 or something like that?
I think that's all target projections. I don't think they've actually announced anything. We'll see at E3.
If it's only $400, then
That's reasonable.
I haven't, kind of like Jay, I haven't played a lot of the PS3 games, and I would buy a PS4 to, play those PS3 games if it was only around $400.
Compatibility has not been announced yet, and it probably isn't going to be possible.
So, Marius, loaded question there, but you haven't given us your answer.
About the winner of the console wars? I would say in sold consoles, obviously the Wii, but in everything else, on an objective standpoint, would be the Xbox. But for me personally, of course, not the Xbox, because they have almost no Japanese games.
Right.
And that's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
So it's mostly the PS3 because of the games.
It's subjective.
Yeah, you mentioned the Japanese stuff, and that's actually a large bit of why I've been wanting to get into the PS4 too and PS3 backlog, is because I got my Xbox, enjoyed a few good Japanese import games on it, but then just realized I'm not really getting a large part of what I want. I'm getting a lot of good games, but not what I really want. So that's a factor too. Definitely is. Do you want mostly American games or a good mix of media from around the world? Do you want your games all American?
America.
Like Lost Odyssey.
Oh boy.
Great.
I'll get to that in what I've been playing actually. But all right. So that's PS4. And anyone else have anything to say about it, or should we move on?
I think we move on.
Yeah, think
All
I'm
right.
good.
So next big topic is the whole SimCity catastrophe. For those somehow not aware of this friggin' joke of a launch, basically the new SimCity game, always online, mandatory, kind of like the Diablo 3 fiasco last year, which I think was around the same time last year.
Yeah, was that last May, I think?
Yeah.
Really,
sounds
around
about
last
right.
March, I think. Yeah. But basically, the servers have been down. Well, they're back up now, but the servers were down for a good couple weeks or more, and no one could play their game. No one could play their game. And I want to talk about both the issue at large and sort of some media reactions to it, specifically Polygon's review of it and what they've been doing with that. But we'll get to that. First, I kind of want to talk about just the problem in general. And so basically, always online games. Do you guys see any point to this game having been consistently always online?
No.
Not when you look at what EA had, or what Maxis had said versus what the actual facts were. They said all the complex computations were being handled server side and yada yada, and it couldn't possibly done, on your actual PC. And we've come to find out that that's all bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I know, the only server-side computations are some very simple,
You have X amount of water, you have X fire trucks.
Server-side computations, is this game a legal game?
Right, exactly. And that's what it all boils down to, is DRM. I mean, don't piss in my face and tell me it's raining. Seriously. I mean, they're going to feed you this. Well, and I like that too, Jay, and that's okay. But it's just really it's repulsive when developers and publishers will treat their consumers as complete buffoons.
Yeah.
You want DRM management, that's great. I mean, I personally am not the biggest fan of it. I don't pirate my shit, but I also don't want to be inconvenienced after my $60. Okay, my money's spent. Let me play my game when and where I want to. But I think the way they handled it was repulsive.
The thing that makes it the most repulsive to me is that this is a company with a lot of money. Right. SimCity has always done very well and very successfully. Even if there is some contingent of your market that's going to pirate the game, you're still going to make profit, probably more than you are making at this point, because until I heard about this, I had been considering getting this game at some point. I'm not going to now, for sure.
Well, you shouldn't get it, because there is another thing bad about the game besides DRM. The game is so buggy and broken, you can't really play it like a normal SimCity game.
Oh yeah, you'll get cars that'll park at intersections, and you just can't use those roads and shit like that. It's unreal.
Yeah, but if, let's say, you build a place for the people to work, and once they get out of work, all of the people go into the next house. They They don't go into their own house like it was said in the trailer and the announcement. They all go into the next house, which makes big traffics, and
So
you
all
have
these
to
little-
make a huge line as a city, not like a grid, really just a line. That's the only good city you can build in this game.
Yeah, and the maps are too small to make really
Right.
big cities, from what I've heard, which is like they're trying to encourage you to make a bunch of smaller cities, which no one really wants to do. Everyone wants to make one enormous super metropolis.
And that's the thing. You used to be able to make Super Metropolis. Like you said, it was this large, dynamic, complex city that you're managing. And now, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's sounding like Cityville. Like this could have been a fucking Facebook game.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it is, because
microtransactions.
they encourage the whole neighbor thing. Like, you can get stuff from your neighbors, just like frickin' Farmville.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you can't even get further in the game without doing that. You are basically stuck if you don't have neighbors.
I hate that stuff.
That's
Mandatory.
really dumb.
And anytime where there's a single player game that at some point just makes you mandatorily go online, or I mean that's kind of the principle of this game anyway. But specifically with that, I should be able to play the game without interacting with anyone if I want. I am a desperate hermit of a man who hates all human interaction, and I should not have to talk to any of you if I want to play my goddamn SimCity.
So, Jay,
Yeah, and there at least should be another mode in which you can decide. Single player mode in which you build a game and a city which is just planned from ground up for single player. And you can still have the online mode if there is just a different mode which you can select.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, is gamers want the choice. Some people might enjoy having the whole neighbor thing, and other gamers might enjoy doing it just single player. They took away the choice, and that's what's the problem.
no, and it's funny you say that too. I didn't actually have the quote right in front of me, and I should, but I seem to recall a Maxis representative actually saying that they do not believe that that is what the gamers want.
Yeah, that's sort of horse shit.
And what's worse, after the whole debacle kind of calmed down a bit, they came out and said, okay, yeah, it could have been offline, but the main reason it really isn't is because, microtransactions and, just
Yeah,
online always.
Yeah, they just want to try and encourage that. And like, I don't know about you guys, I appreciate multiplayer in a game, but to me, if a game is not a fun single player experience and cannot be enjoyed in isolation, completely by myself, it's useless to me. Like,
Right.
like that's why I've never gotten into MMOs personally, and why I enjoy the Borderlands games, playing those multiplayer, but I also enjoy them because they're very fun as single player games as well. And like, nothing that requires me to be online is ever going to catch my interest, and I know there's a lot of other gamers who feel the same way. It's just
Well, it's
really
ridiculous.
best
You get punished for, actually wanting to play on your own time.
Yeah.
It's sitting there, trying to organize and yada yada. I mean, God knows sometimes it takes me a half hour to set up a Borderlands session. Really, sometimes you just want to sit there with your games, your time sink, sit right down, fire it up, waste an hour, and you're golden. And it seems like that's pretty much impossible. You have to invest in the community, and that's just ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
And let's say you have a job which only allows you to play at night. Nobody is online at
Right.
night normally, which you know of. So who is going to give you your oil?
Exactly, and that's my thing is, I'm a father and I have 2 jobs and I run a website. I really don't have all the time in the world when I get home to actually play some games. And I mean, I guess I'm out in that regard. I'm not going to be playing SimCity for that reason alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean this whole always online discussion again is going to go into something we're going to talk about later. But I feel like what if my internet goes down and I just want to play my damn game? Like there's just so much wrong with it.
Welcome to the world of only owning the rights and license to your game, but
Yeah.
not your actual game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't even own the save file of your game that's stored on the server.
That's the sickening part. Is like if it was only online for the purpose of, okay, we're going to save your game, but this is a very elaborate game, so just in case, we're also going to save it to our network. I could understand that, I guess, like a cloud service kind of thing, kind of like what Steam does, but it doesn't necessitate that in any way. I don't know, man.
No.
But yeah, so there's another side to this. There's another aspect of this whole issue that I want to talk about for a minute, and that's over on Polygon.com, which I don't know if you guys have checked out this site. Polygon's been around for only about a year. It was created from, what was it, one of the guys from Kotaku?
Brian Kshente, yeah.
Yes.
It is part of Verge.
Yeah, created by, it's a bunch of people from Kotaku and IGN alum and some other people. some not very good stuff on that site. Some stuff reminiscent of Kotaku, which, but there's been some good stuff there. I enjoy the McElroy brothers writing and stuff, and they did a review of this game. They gave it a pretty good score. This was based on I think it was a version on a private server set up for their website or some such. And then after that, and in the months prior, they have, I believe, 3 or 4 times updated their review with different scores. And a lot of people have been speaking out either in favor or very severely against this, and specifically also about some words that the reviewer said. But I want to get you guys' opinion. What do you guys think of this idea that this guy, the reviewer of this game, who I'm trying to find at the moment because I forget his name, but the man who reviewed this game found it necessary to continually update the review. Do you think this is something that should be warranted, or should the original review always stand?
I think this is a very good decision to do it this way, because a game, especially an online game, can get worse or better over time. If the server are not available, of course it's going to suck, and it's going to be laggy if there aren't enough servers. So, but if there aren't any servers at the beginning when the game is being developed and tests by the sites get a private server, which of course has no lag because only they are on it. So of course they have the best possible experience with the game. So they can't give a bad score based on the server because they haven't experienced the real servers. So they have to edit it later on.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with that. I think they've been a little excessive with presenting each new update as if it's its own review, and it's not. I think they could scale down the amount of times they've done it. I'm looking at this. I think they've updated the review 5 times, which seems excessive. You could have done it twice, guys.
You gotta wonder how much of that was actually because of the uproar over the review itself.
That's probably true, actually. Yeah, and there was, Russ Pitts was the name of the gentleman who reviewed this, and I believe he said, didn't he speak out in after the uproar over changing the score and everything? After that began, he spoke out something about how, in his opinion, the review score in itself is stupid anyway, and you're freaking out over nothing. I think in that way he got very defensive about it. I think there's some sense of almost feeling guilty about having done this, about having continually changed the score. I personally don't have a problem with it. I'll definitely agree with Marius on that.
Well, it's nothing new for massively multiplayer games to get kind of like a review in progress. But, how long has this chain of review changes been going on for? I'm sure the last score update was probably pretty recently.
A few days ago, actually.
Right. I don't know. I agree again, now that they've actually gotten their feet wet with the actual servers themselves and they're, giving their honest thoughts, I hope, on the game, then that's great. I appreciate that. It's good to say that they're going to show the game for what it's really worth. What I don't really respect, and I'm trying to find the actual editor who made this comment. I apologize that I just don't have it in front of me right now.
Russ Pitts, I think was his name.
No, it was Eggies. He had actually said that if you're not happy, or if you're not happy with the game, he essentially said, make a better game yourself. I don't think that's a stance a reviewer should take. Really, as a reviewer, you should be critical. To sit there and just tell readers that, or anyone who was actually not happy with the final product that they should just go make a better one, really, you're doing a disservice to reviewing games. Yeah. And I think the priorities are kind of fucked there.
Yeah, I definitely agree, though. That was definitely the wrong way to handle that.
Yeah, and I'll agree that I definitely do think they've been revising the score too often. You could have just done it once and just said, hey, it's fixed now, we're going to go back to our original score. Because since the whole debacle ended, they've still been changing the score.
Right.
Which, that's the whole fundamental problem. And I lagged out for a minute there, so I apologize if I just repeated what anyone else just said.
Them changing the score seems like it just... I don't see that a need for them to do it more than maybe twice. I understand as time goes, the game changes, but why?
Right.
Well, see, this is... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, they're still doing it after the whole debacle's over. I mean, why? There's no major changes now.
Well, yeah, it seems like that...
my online game.
It seems like they're only doing it now after the debacle is for them trying to be like, see, we're still changing the score. It wasn't because of public outcry. Yeah, we're totally doing it. This is what we always do.
Yeah, now they're just using the fact they've already done it once to defend themselves in changing their own minds about it and not being able to decide what they actually think of the game.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, this isn't the first big thing that's blown up in Polygon's face over the past year. I can't remember all the exact examples, but I know that they've come under fire pretty heavily in the past few months. So maybe they're just trying to save face. I really don't know, but
it could be. I mean, they're still a pretty respected website. I actually don't know of any other big uproars about them personally. I only really go there for Arthur Gies' writing, who is a former IGN alum.
Gies, yeah, he's actually the one who had made the statement where you don't like it, make something better.
Really?
Yeah, that was him. That was Gies on his Twitter feed.
That's interesting.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy a couple of the writers on there, like Griffin McElroy and Travis McElroy, but yeah, overall they have definitely had some fumbles, which I may point to being the fact that it's run by former Kotaku people, but that's neither here nor there.
I just want to say that this is the reason why I really don't like numerical scores for video games or just in general any kind of review. Like, just tell the good points, tell the bad points, and let the reader decide. Because, I love Grand Theft Auto. I don't like Metal Gear Solid. I'm not going to agree that both of them deserve a 10.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, that's something, you're very right there, and that's something I strive to do when I'm reviewing something. Like, my last couple of reviews especially have been kind of on the long side, and that's because I've started trying to do that. Like, yes, we do use the actual scoring system, but I try to actually flesh out my reasons why and my argument towards it being a good game independent of that little stupid score at the end. Right. So if you want to just look at the score, that's the quantification of my opinions, but if you want to read my actual opinions, they're almost like a separate entity, so it depends on how you want to view, I don't know.
The biggest problem in the gaming industry nowadays is the scoring system. Everything under an 8 is actually considered terrible in our industry, which just isn't the case normally in all other rating systems. 7 is above average. It's good. It's a good game if you would say 7 is good. 6 is above average, and 5 is average, and everything under 5 is mildly bad, and then bad and horrible.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why 8 is the normal 5.
It just comes down to how readers view what they're reading. I think in terms of score, like to them, any game that they like, all right, I feel like I'm speaking for all readers, and in doing so I'm speaking for readers of our site, which I don't mean to be doing, but it seems like a lot of time when you hear people talking about, oh, this game should have gotten a higher score, it's because when someone likes a game, a lot of time, when people who are as when people who don't necessarily think of games automatically as critically as others do, which is the vast majority of gamers, I would say, play a game, if they like it, their first impression is, oh, this game's great, this should deserve a 9. Like, a lot of people they either really like a game or really hate a game. There's very little middle ground for the average game consumer, it seems like. So to them, they see, Devil May Cry got a 7.5 at the site. Well, I enjoyed this game, so it should get a 10. Like, a lot of people just see the score and just assume that the person's bashing on the game if it's anything less than perfect, or then assume that the game's terrible if its rated is anything less than perfect. And that's the whole problem with the scoring system, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, since when did above average become bad? I mean, really, it seems like you have to be a AAA game for people to care about you. And I don't know. Growing up, I never really had that issue. But I'm from the school of thought where you went to the video store and you rented games based on the back of the box. You didn't have Metacritic. You didn't have the internet. And you know what? You found a lot of games that were just fun to fucking play. You didn't care about quantifying the score. You just wanted to try something new, and you tried it, and you enjoyed it. Like, I think that, Metacritic's kind of thrown a wrench in the works here, and just the internet and having, again, these instant scores. You're not waiting a month for a magazine anymore, so you're not going to go out on your own and buy something before the game comes out, or before the magazines come out to try it. I don't know. It's changed people's perspectives, and frankly, I think it sucks, because that's the reason why these studios are making these 7s or these 7.75 games, and they're folding afterwards. It's like you don't get that coveted 9.5 or higher, then your game's a failure. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think the real sad part about it is the whole genesis of the scoring system came from this mentality that, oh, gamers don't want to spend all the time reading a review. We should just quantify the review. And I feel like I'm making a really big statement here that people are going to disagree with and be like, no, this isn't true. I feel like that's made a lot of gamers less intelligent about the games they consume, because instead of thinking about the elements of a game, a lot of people are just like, duh, this one got more numbers than this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's not true of everyone, not in the slightest. I'm just saying, from what I've seen, it seems like the average IGN or Kotaku or Polygon reader thinks that way.
So I think another side to this is it's a sense of validation. You go out and buy a game that you really love, and someone gives it a bad score, you feel like your opinion is bad or something. You feel invalidated by that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's very true.
And also, I want to say that's one reason I really like Angry Joe. Is he actually does go by the system that 5 is average. Anything above 5 is above average. And anything below that is pretty much terrible.
Yeah. I'll definitely agree with that.
If you would change every rating system to 1 through 5, everything would mostly be rated 4. Nothing else would basically exist.
Yeah,
like on X-Play.
Yeah, X-Play. But yeah, so that's that whole debacle. All right, so we have a couple more topics to discuss. This is the one that we kept alluding to, Xbox 720 rumors and the sort of recent inflammatory comments. Andrew, do you know the most about this? It seems like you want to sort of lead into this one.
Well, yeah. As you know, it was not confirmed, but supposed rumors, quote unquote, confirmed about the new Xbox being online only, and that's terrible to me, honestly. As we just talked about with SimCity. But this guy who works for Microsoft, tweeted, I don't understand what the big deal is about always online. What's the big deal? Everything is always on. And some guy tweeted back, what about people who live here or there? He says, oh, why would I want to live there? And he states, something. The people that live in those areas should definitely give it the time to get the internet. It's awesome.
It's that simple.
Which is just a terrible thing to say to, your customers who you want them to buy your next system.
Exactly.
What about people who can't afford internet? What about people who do have internet but it goes out every now and then?
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. And then again, this goes back into the SimCity discussion. I can't see a reason why this console needs to be online.
Like, if you're middle of a game and say the internet goes out, does it automatically just shut off the console? Like,
well, see, this is the exact same discussion that people have had ever since companies started doing always online DRM. Like, what was it? Assassin's Creed 3 was one of the first ones, and it went down a month and people couldn't play their game for an entire month because of this.
Assassin's Creed 3 was always online?
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. No, I don't think it was. I had it on.
I'm pretty sure it was one of the Assassin's Creed games.
I think it was 2,
because it was Ubisoft that basically led the charge for this whole always online DRM.
I believe it was 2, if I'm not completely crazy, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like what is there even left to say on this besides no, it's stupid, this is a bad idea. I mean, I like being able to be connected. Like, I like turning on my Xbox and seeing who's online, who's playing this, who's playing that. I don't need that to be mandatory, though. If my internet does go, like, if my internet's out for some reason, I should still be able to play my games. And especially if it wouldn't surprise me if they make gold membership the standard in order to get online at all on the Xbox.
Right.
Basically meaning that if you get this Xbox, in order to play it, you need to pay $20 a month. Honestly, I know that's a big step to take, but that wouldn't surprise me that much if that's their next step of action.
I mean, there are 2 different memberships, there's silver and gold, but with silver, the only thing you can do is play games,
Can you even play games online with that? I don't think you even can.
No, you can't play online, but you can play single player.
Even if you have silver, you can still browse the marketplace and buy things. You just can't play multiplayer.
Without gold, you can't do Netflix, which a lot of people use their Xboxes for. You can't do YouTube. You can't
even do group chats.
You can't. You can only play games and browse the marketplace.
Yeah.
And
which is one of the worst marketing decisions ever. But people haven't done anything against it. They didn't protest. They just said, "Oh, okay, I played online."
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the closest thing I've done to protest it is not consistently pay for gold membership. Like I did after Borderlands 2 came out, just because I want to play that with my buddies, and I still do occasionally. But I have like one more free month card that Andrew got me a while ago because he has magical powers. when that runs out, I'm not going to be paying for it. Like I don't care.
Am I the only one here who got that lovely card for being a 10-year subscriber to the live service just this past November?
How did you get it?
Probably because I've only been for 6 years.
I've only been for like 1.5.
Yeah, that made me feel pretty fucking old when I realized I've been subscribing to that for a third of my life. So I think it's safe to say, guys, that I will be subscribing to the service for the Xbox 720 or whatever they do decide to call it.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about Xbox Live. I think it gets way more shit than it deserves because, if you think about it, it's like $60 a year, which comes out to about $5 a month. How many other bills are only $5 a month?
Right.
And with that $5 a month, people say, well, the PlayStation Network is free. Yeah, PlayStation Network has gone down. They've had pretty extended outages. They've been hacked. Pretty sure the longest Xbox Live's ever been down is maybe a day.
I've had friends who've had $400 transactions on their cards because of the hacking that went on through PSN. I mean, it's pretty fucking unreal.
Yeah, so you pay a little bit extra for Xbox Live, but you get a more stable experience. My main complaint with paying for Xbox Live is there's still ads.
Yeah, that's it. That's the big thing for me, and this kind of goes into why personally I don't have much trust in the next Xbox. Is the marketing approach they've been taking in the last year with the new dashboard. Like my dashboard on my Xbox is so cluttered. I have this one little icon for my game, one little tiny icon for my pins, which are other things I will actually use. Which the things I actually use should be actually on the front page of the dashboard. That would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then literally the rest of the 6 pages on there are all advertisements. And the fact that I have to sit through those and pay for gold, like they should have said, okay, we're gonna make gold free and put all those ads here. That's fine. You want to try and sell me WWE SmackDown? I'm not going to buy it, but you can try and sell me that all I want if it means I don't have to pay extra money to play Borderlands online with my friends.
But there is one big part which you're overlooking, which is the developer standpoint. Look, you're giving Microsoft money to play on a server which is owned by, let's say, EA or some other company which is never going to get money for that server. You're basically paying them to use property of someone else.
Right.
I don't know though, because I'm not educated on this particular on this what I'm about to ask, but isn't there some kind of standard that if you're running such a server, you have to be paid some amount by the company owning the console, regardless of what console it is? Like, wouldn't Sony have to pay EA a little bit just as much as Microsoft would? I would think that's how it would work. I don't know.
I think they don't get paid at all for that.
Huh.
On either side.
Well,
now, going back to the 720 there, because I think we kind of got sidetracked a little bit there. But, I do think that with the whole always-on approach, the whole thing, I mean, it's boiling down again, just like we talked about with SimCity, just like we talked about with the PS4. It's DRM. That's what it all boils down to. That's the only reason that I can see that they would actually need to have your system online at all times. It's no question that, Microsoft got hit hard by people hacking other systems and playing, counterfeit games and yada yada. It's been going on for years now. But now that brings, a few things to the equation. Like, are we actually going to be able to have our friends bring their games to our house and play them? Is that just going to be excluded now? I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it boils down to. And that's pretty scary to me.
Well, the other question is, can you even bring them over are there discs or are they download-only games?
Right.
Which has been confirmed yet, and Microsoft likes this download-only stuff.
And with these rumors of terabyte and 500 gig hard drives floating around that come with these systems and mandatory installs, and I haven't heard a whole lot of specs on optical drives, guys, and that also kind of makes me a little freaked out not seeing a physical PS4 at the demonstration. Again, are we going to own these games, or are we just owning the rights to these games? And I'll tell you what, if we're just owning the rights, well, I don't think I've ever put a dime in my Steam account, and it's safe to say I won't pick up the systems if it comes to that.
Well, it goes to something else, like not confirmed, but more rumors of the next Xbox that used games.
Exactly,
you can go buy a new game, it'll come with a code, you redeem it, it's on your account, that's it. You can play your game on your console, but no one else.
Well, that same rumor was for the PS4 also, but they pretty much said, no, we're not going to do that.
Well, going back to with the guy who was ranting or basically dissing his customers, who actually got fired today because of that whole debacle. Microsoft apologized about it, but didn't say anything about online only. Like, I felt like if they wanted to disprove that would kind of be the perfect time to say
that. I feel like based on the whole always online thing, not being able to play used games makes more sense in comparison to the rest of Microsoft's business model. Like, if it's an anti-DRM measure, it wouldn't surprise me if they decide to take that next step, as awful as that would be. I don't even buy that many used games personally. What I do is usually just older games that I can't buy new. Whenever I can afford it, whenever I reasonably can, I do try to buy the new games, But I should still be able to, if I, for some reason, lose my 360, I should be able to get an old 360 game if I want and put it in and play it. Like, I don't know, guys.
But how you can make used games unplayable with the games not being on discs, being download only, so they are unplayable on other consoles.
I don't see any.
And also, you can't trade them in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can't see them doing that, though, because at the same time, like, at this point, every console, I think, does support download-only games. Like, the Wii U can do it with all their games and, everything. But, I certainly see them continuing to promote the option of a download-only game. I can't see them discontinuing physical copies, only because you still have that contingent of, grandmas walking in the store with their grandson, and the kid's like, I want this game, and they just blindly pick it up. There's still enough consumers who do buy mostly physical copies that you think, based on the nature of a lot of those consumers, they would still want to capitalize on that market.
Especially in like the holiday shopping and stuff.
Right.
Exactly.
But that's Microsoft we are talking about here. What they are doing.
But at the same time, do they hate money? Like,
it could be whittled down to.
They have figured it out how to make money. So it seems. Just look at Windows 8.
I don't know. I
Windows
mean,
Blue.
Honestly, if they do only downloadable games, that's gonna be my final reason to not get the new system.
Right. My backlog's plenty big enough as it is. So I mean,
I just like having physical games.
The worst part is, as a collector like I and Francis are, is you can't buy old games or get used games in like 10 years for the console.
Exactly.
So basically those games are dead forever.
And also, if your games are only viable so long as the servers are around, do you even have a library, in 8 to 10 years?
Yeah.
You have a library, but you can't use it.
Right.
That's the other big fear, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but personally, I feel way more secure about the games I have sitting on my shelf looking all pretty and waiting for me to play them than anything I have downloaded on any of my devices. And, with portables, I can see it a little more. I have a few really good games downloaded on my 3DS. But with consoles, I would just rather have that physical copy just sitting there on my shelf, like, knowing that will never go away.
Right. Well, again, you want the games you pay for. You don't just want the rights to the game you paid for.
But you previously talked about people buying the games in store. That's still possible. Just get a box and put a piece of paper inside with a code, which you type in, like many Steam games are doing. Skyrim, for example, does just that. Well, they have also a disk to install, but you still need Steam to install it.
Or maybe these discs that we buy are simply just going to have a small partition of data that actually unlocks the copy that we end up downloading.
That's what Steam did with the Orange Box. I remember picking that up when I was younger, not knowing what Steam was, and then downloading Steam as a result and being introduced to that whole world just because of buying the physical copy, which I still have for some reason. But yeah, I don't know. And then while we're talking about Xbox 720, there's also been the rumor of it being able to multitask games. Now, this one to me is, in a way, kind of perplexing, just because I don't see any particular necessity to it. Basically,
I love it.
Huh?
I love the idea already, but keep going, I'm sorry.
Can you play multiple games at the same time with one disk drive? No, you can't. You can do it with download.
I got you.
Which is another thing which points in the direction of download only.
Not really. I mean,
the rumor is we're going to have mandatory installs, so the disk drive itself might be a non-point when you're looking at it in those regards.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and then, it's just a thing of you can switch between a disc game and downloadable games. Personally, I don't know about you guys, but when I sit down to play a game, I sit down to play one game for like 2 hours. Like, if I'm turning on my Xbox, I'm not going to be switching between games every half hour. I'm going to sit down vegetating in front of BioShock Infinite for like 3 hours, and that's pretty much it. I don't have any need.
But let's say you're playing Borderlands 3 when it comes out.
Oh, sweet!
Right? And you're playing, and it's awesome, and oh my god, this quest is ridiculous, and oh shit, an invite, and someone wants you to join their game. Well, how rad is it that you can pause that game, go into whatever game you were invited to, play that, close it out, and then resume exactly where you left off as if you were closing Windows on a computer. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
I can also see, like, if you're playing a game with, like, lobbies, like Halo or something, where you're in between matches and someone's taking a long time to update or something, you can just switch over to some other, like say, an Xbox Live Arcade game, which doesn't really take a whole lot of attention, and then once the match starts up, you can just switch back.
Right.
I guess if you're an ADD gamer like that, then that sounds good.
I find it hard to find a downside to this approach. It's the same way, I sit here with my iPad, and I'll be fucking around with 10 applications at once, and I'm just closing them instantaneously and jumping into another. Having that carry over to the consoles, that kind of easy use, I like that. I really do. I find it hard. I'm sorry?
I would say I see it as a good feature. I just don't think it'll be used a lot.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't see a downside to it. I just personally, the way I view games, don't see how it's necessary. Like most of what you guys were saying was how it could be used in the case of multiplayer functionality, like in being invited to an online game, whatever. That doesn't really apply to me because I play mostly single player stuff, and I don't know. I feel like it's. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's not so much that. I'm not just thinking of multiplayer perspectives and matchmaking and just time killers, in between, but more so, we don't know all the things this box is going to actually feature. I mean, really, if it's a full-fledged entertainment suite, you can already count on Netflix and things like that. If you can seriously just pop in and out of whatever you're doing, watch a movie, resume a game you had going earlier, jump into an online game. I think while these things alone don't sound amazing, the total package that this represents, where it's going to be something that's a natural progression, there's going to be so much easy use to it. It's going to be so streamlined. You're going to be doing it like second nature, and you'll actually have to sit back to realize just how much you appreciate these things.
That's true. Yeah, I can see that.
Now that we are talking about multitasking, there is an operating system which quite sucks at it. Windows 8. And there is a rumor going around that the new Xbox is going to be built on Windows 8. What do you think about this rumor?
Bad.
Well, okay. Windows 8 isn't inherently bad. It's good for phones. It's good for tablets. It might be good for game console. It is terrible as a PC operating system.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it won't surprise me if they do that, because even looking at the way the dashboard looks now, it looks like a Windows 8 computer with all the little panels and stuff. And that won't surprise me if it is true, and to me that's just another nail in the coffin. I don't know, guys. Personally, I'm just not sold on this thing in the slightest.
Not even with the rumored updated Kinect it's going to come with?
Oh,
really?
no.
Updated Kinect!
Oh, boy.
Golly gee!
Hey, Kinect has
Kinect Sports 2! I
tons-
can't wait!
Oh, shut up.
Kinect. Oh. Go ahead.
You ever play Kinect Adventures Naked?
Oh, I was gonna say
Not
Kinect
yet.
has tons of awesome features and uses. None of them have anything to do with gaming.
It's great
yeah.
in concept. It's terrible.
Well, there is one thing which is good with Kinect 2. It's that with Kinect 2 you're going to be able to track your fingers, which is pretty neat for virtual reality games.
Yeah,
But if you have a
Especially
data
when you're
globe,
throwing up the bird at the television for how unfucking responsive it is.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Kinect. Yeah,
I've heard that the next Kinect will be, that powerful, also powerful enough to read lips.
to actually, how about just to actually pick people's figures up without being in an enormous room, and how it couldn't identify black people sometimes. That was a thing.
What?
I am not making that up. That was a thing.
well, it's racist.
Yeah, there
Did,
you go.
did it pick them up after they smile?
Oh my no, I had to wait until they were eating a
No,
big slice of watermelon. Then they were like, I get it now.
We better stop before.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry.
You're the only one or Marius is the only one who's supposed to feel constant shame on this podcast. What are you doing? Don't apologize.
Why should I feel... Hey, the only
Because
thing-
your SimCity citizens, sir, don't have ends to their work days. They work until they die.
So what? That's efficient.
They've got to earn their living in a whole new way.
Yeah.
But oh my god. But
That's
yeah,
a German correspondent there, guys.
All in all,
For the
I'm not
uninitiated.
excited for the next Xbox if a lot of these rumors are to be considered true.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want online only. I don't want all my games to be digital. I want my physical copies sitting on my shelf being happy.
If
I-
rumors do
Thinking back, guys, in 2000, before the 360 or the original Xbox came out, everyone was terrified. Oh, it's going to be just like a computer. Who cares? Yada yada yada. And it ended up being killer. Microsoft has done a ton of good and very little bad the past two console generations, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
We are talking about Microsoft, which is not a company which is only for consoles. They are mostly doing PC business, at which they are pretty much lacking right now. And they're making pretty bad decisions.
Yeah,
Well, you
and
see-
I mean,
Yeah, but they still,
the
I
Microsoft
can't think of
PC
one foible that I've had with Microsoft's approach to consoles. They just have not let me down. And
yeah,
the better part of 10 years.
The guys who are making the operating system are not the same guys making the console, so the bad decisions made by the OS guys don't really reflect how their gaming division is run.
that's very true. That's very fair. But personally, like you say, there haven't been many, big concerns with Xboxes, and I agree with that. Both Xboxes have been very good consoles, but most of the problems I have had with my 360 have been more recent in this sort of rising tide of problems based on the new choices Microsoft has been making in, marketing and just the way they approach their devices,
Right.
and it's changes that are being made across the board,
Right.
not just with Xbox, also with Windows and everything. And the thing is, like, a lot of people have been saying they're going to try and integrate Xbox and their computers and sort of make it all almost like one thing, like as if the next Xbox will be synonymous with a Windows 8 tablet.
Right.
And I don't know, guys. I just don't see it working.
Same here.
I guess we'll have to wait and see, really. E3 can't come soon enough.
Oh,
and
don't get me started.
come November, I believe that we'll be able to see all these systems in action and we'll be able to make a sound judgment there.
Yeah, I think we're just overestimating Microsoft's ambition.
Yeah, and we are working
There-
on a lot of rumors.
There
and
is a
speculation.
single
I do just
rumor
hope that I don't go
that-
through 4 720s as I did with 4 360s, because I take back what I said. They haven't made a mistake.
Yeah.
That was pretty abysmal,
Yeah.
guys. Hopefully
Yeah,
they
it's-
have better quality assurance this time around.
There's one rumor which we have forgotten. There's a rumor Microsoft is planning to do a Xbox launch event, Unreal
in
event.
In May.
Oh,
I heard about
and
that.
May.
Oh yeah.
That's true. I guess we'll see some stuff there. I like the idea that both them and Sony have decided to unveil the actual console beforehand. I feel like that's kind of where Nintendo dropped the ball with their first. Well, not really dropped the ball, but I think it's a good idea to keep E3 as the place to show the games and have the events show the
Nintendo
console.
didn't start this actually. That's
No,
what most people think. Microsoft started it on MTV with the original Xbox.
Oh, back in
True.
2005, I believe. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
The Killers played too. That was pretty rad. Hopefully they can do that again this time.
What, music on MTV?
That's crazy talk. Ha ha ha. All right, so
I actually wanted to mention one more thing.
go for it.
Something I will be disappointed about with the next Xbox is, if it didn't have backwards compatibility. I know that's not a killer, sell point to many systems, but to me, who still has the original Xbox, which could red ring any day now, I don't want to own the 720 and have to digitally download 360 games that I already own. I'd have to go out and buy a last-gen console.
Microsoft isn't really good at backwards compatibility. Just look at how many original Xbox games work on the Xbox 360. Not a lot.
Well, wasn't that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they updated that over time. As more time went by, more Xbox games did work on the 360.
Yeah,
do you think we're kind of overstating the importance of backwards compatibility? I mean, is it...
Well,
Yeah.
we here are retro players, so for us it's pretty important.
I mean, not really. Like,
just because, one system, or Sony started doing that with all their consoles, like, I don't believe that every console should be held to that standard. It's a great feature, don't get me wrong, and, my Wii was crapping out, and I'm glad my Wii U can play Wii games. I mean, they're basically the same system, so that's fair. But really, I mean... I'm up for taking a whole lot more new and worrying about that secondly. It's really not that important to me. I am concerned about the fact that, as, Marius and we collect. I'm not sure about everybody else how into holding on to your old stuff you are. Oh, yeah. But I worry that 10 years down the road I won't be able to play any of my Xbox 360 games. I'm resigned to that fate.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, keep going.
Okay, so here's my thing. I want to agree with you about, and I was about to agree with you about backwards compatibility not necessarily being a big necessity, but then I remembered what I just said like 20 minutes ago about the PS4. And I'm sure, like, for me, it's not a case because I have a 360 that was refurbished and supposedly is much less likely to red ring, and I'm sure Microsoft will for a while have still the ability to take your 360 and fix it for you if you need to. And there are other people who can do that. I have a friend who actually knows how to fix red rings. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of people, just like how I'm going to be with the PS4, there will be some people who never got 360s who buy the next Xbox initially to try out the whole backlot of 360 games. And if they can't do that, they're probably not going to get that system for a while. Just like if that was true of the PS4, I probably wouldn't get that for a while.
Right.
And just like part of the reason I got the Wii U at launch was to be able to play all my favorite Wii games in HD. Like it's a bigger selling point than you might think at first.
Yeah, to me,
I'll give you that.
It's an important detail. I mean, it's not a system seller, but I don't want to have to go buy a last gen console when my 360 shits the bed after owning the 720.
Mm-hmm.
I know it won't be cheap. They'll still probably go for maybe 150. At this moment in time, that's not pocket change really. So.
Yeah. That's fair.
Jay, a little fun fact about the Wii and HD. Did you know in Japan there was an accessory released for the Wii which made the Wii able to put out full HD?
Oh yeah, that exists in America too. Just a different set of cables, right? For HD. I mean, it was like 420.
No, because even with component, the max it goes is
no, it's not
480p.
Yeah.
It's an HDMI output with full HD. It's an adapter only released in Japan. Yeah.
I feel like every show we should have a segment from Marius, the Did You Know? Because it seems like you always get one of those. And I like
that. He has a whole bunch of new stuff too. But first we have just to move. I feel like we dwell on this long enough. Just to touch on one last thing before we move on to something different. Guys, Lucasarts closed. I'm sad.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm sad because my reason for being sad about this is that I recognize their logo. I don't think they even made these games, but the Lego Star Wars games I always associate with Lucasarts for some reason. And
No, that was Telltale.
Was it? No, Traveler's Tales.
Traveler's
Oh, yeah.
Tales, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But still, I mean, they made some good games over the years. They made, man, I'm having trouble even remembering which ones, but they made...
Maniac Mansion, Day of the Tentacle, Secret of Monkey Island, The Curse of Monkey Island,
Yeah, see,
Grim Fandango,
That's
Sam
like-
and Max. Oh my god, everything's scum, and it fucking kills me. Not that they've done anything with these properties in years, but
Yeah, that's
the
a-
memories,
Yes.
guys.
I wanted to say they probably won't ever make a new Day of the Tentacle game, so that wasn't a big loss on that side.
Fandango, unfortunately. That's cool.
Yeah.
And doesn't Telltale doesn't Telltale own Sam and Max now? I thought.
Sam and Max and
Yeah.
Monkey Island, I believe.
Yeah.
But I don't know, guys. It's again the work that Tim Schafer and Ron Gilbert did together on their early projects. I mean, those are probably my fondest memories of PC gaming, the Monkey Island titles. And I remember back when my buddy got his first Tandy circa 1991, along with the Secret of Monkey Island. And that was the game that really got me into PC gaming, and it was just an experience like no other. The charm, the sense of humor, the clever puzzles, a Nintendo game that I scarcely put down as a kid, Maniac Mansion. Everything Scum, man. They were fantastic games. That engine was brilliant. It's a huge loss to me seeing that studio close down. I feel bad that 150 people lost their jobs there. I know it's not the same people, but it's the end of an era, and it hurts.
Yeah, but on the same token, it's like pretty much everything everyone names as a good game is like 20 years old.
Right.
So what have they done that's actually good recently? I mean, the last successful game that they made themselves was Star Wars Force Unleashed, which they followed up with a terrible game, Star Wars Force Unleashed 2.
Well, they had 1313 coming out. That looked pretty good.
That actually looked pretty good, and I'm not one to really care for Star Wars games.
That's what sold me. I was really interested in that, actually. Like, I used to be actually really into the like extended Star Wars mythos, like the books and stuff, the fan universe sort of, and there's a lot of really good like bounty hunter mythos, and I just thought it would have been cool to have a game that sort of delves into the darker, grittier side of those kinds of characters. And it turns out it was going to be about Boba Fett, which I'm not as much of a fan of him as anyone else. I kind of would have rather had a new character, but that's still, oh man, that game looked so good.
So that goes into another gripe I have with a lot of people. It's like, pretty much the general consensus with gaming is, licensed games sucks. What? LucasArts, a company that makes nothing but licensed game closed? Oh no!
Yeah, Star Wars games, and you look at the Walking Dead Telltale game. There's a lot of good licensed games. It's just that there are way more bad licensed games. But yeah, it's funny how a lot of people and you say that, but they still did make Grim Fandango and Travel and
true. But yeah, that was
Monkey Island.
That was like 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of the people who were also up in arms over LucasArts being shuttered are the same people who grew up with those games. And even their licensed games then, like Indiana Jones, is fantastic. I don't know. I think there's a lot of genuine dismay there.
The thing is, LucasArts is still technically around. The only thing they shut down was their internal developer. They still exist
they're still
as a
gonna
publisher.
publish. Right.
Yeah.
So they'll still be our resource for all of our Star Wars games, for the next 3 movies that are going to come out and suck terribly.
Don't jinx it, man.
Oh, it's been jinxed, buddy.
Oh man, I didn't know.
4, 5, and 6, great. 1, 2, and 3, terrible.
But the next ones are being done by J.J. Abrams.
That's true.
Fuck him.
Fuck you.
Oh,
Fuck him. Fuck you.
Well, you can't say that Star Trek and Star Wars is the same thing.
No.
All right, you're fired.
Oh yeah, go
have a
away.
crossover.
Go away. Sorry. There was a time when I would have said that, but all of Star Trek's on Netflix. I've watched most of it. You're wrong.
I've watched the entire first series.
Yeah, dude.
3 seasons of the original series. That's all I watched.
Yeah.
And
You sat through a season and a half of crap.
I think it was quite good for its time.
Yeah. I don't know. First season isn't.
Did you know that Star Trek had the first ever televised interracial kiss?
Racial kiss.
I did.
Yeah.
I like how that's just a thing everyone knows for some reason.
I know.
That's just one of those weird facts. All right.
Yeah, it was George Takei actually had that on his Facebook last week, and I think that's why everybody knows that.
Well, I've known it for
I've known it for a while. But anyway, this is not the Star Trek fan cast, as cool as of a podcast as that would be to be on.
Okay, let's cancel this and turn it into the Star Wars cast.
All right, we're doing it. Hey poor Klingon, we're doing this. Oh man.
Hey
right.
Borg player.
Yeah. All right, so Marius, you have some stuff for us to talk about, don't you?
Fuck.
Yeah, a bit of Japanese news. I'm going to power through this stuff, so if you want to say something, say something. If not, I'm going to go straight to the next subject.
Power!
Okay, first off,
Do it, buddy.
German efficiency.
German lightning round.
well, it's around 6 a.m. over here. I guess I have to do it. Okay. Nintendo announced a new Pokemon which looks similar to Mewtwo, and they introduced it as a new Pokemon with a familiar look. So, what do you guys think about this Pokemon?
All right,
Yes.
so
Let's go.
And no.
I like it, and I have a distinct theory that, all right, so Pokemon recently, they've been developing a lot of new forms for other Pokemon, like Black and White 2, they had the White and Black Kyurem. Yeah. And some people have mentioned that those were initially introduced as if they were new Pokemon, just like this. Personally, I don't think this is a new form of Mewtwo. This is me going off on my Pokemon nerd boner for a minute. So just...
Do you guys hear the passion here?
Yeah, hey man.
You don't know the half of it.
He is wet at the tip, I assure you.
Hey man, that's a whole
So,
time.
you are one of those people which are saying it's Mew 3, aren't you?
No. Yes and no, because... Alright, the thing about, and I'm gonna put on my Pokemon nerd glasses, just don't worry about it.
I love when he wears those.
I know, they're the best. But so the thing about Mewtwo is it's a clone of Mew. Mew, for those uninitiated to Pokemon and uninitiated to this sort of dumb mythology, Mew is basically like, it's in the mythos somewhere that all the Pokemon that exist in the games are sort of, have ancestral ties to Mew. Like, originally there were millions of Mew that just sort of populated different environments and evolved into different kinds of creatures over, millions of years. And so...
Evolution.
Well, yeah, evolution and, just natural development.
The Christians are going to kill us. Run.
No. So since that's true, I was thinking the same would naturally be true if this Pokemon is just a different Mewtwo. It's just another Mewtwo that some other...
Yeah, another clone.
Made. So it's just... It would make sense that just as each Pokemon that developed from Mew is different, each Mewtwo is different as well, so this is just sort of another one. I don't know.
Another failed clone. Like Ditto is also a failed clone of Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure Game Freak declined that. That was actually just a big coincidence.
Really?
Yeah. That, like, the fact that, the Ditto spawn rate gets closer to Mewtwo. I'm pretty sure
I still call it canon.
I guess they said that was just a coincidence.
All people who complain about his design, it's better than a trash can and an ice cream cone.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
I like it. It's got
But the design is not what the people are complaining about. Nintendo sent out a newsletter in which was the announcement that the video below was a picture of Mewtwo, and click here to watch the video and find out how it is related to Mewtwo. That was in the newsletter.
And they never it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see when the game comes out. I've already talked about how excited I am for X and Y. Oh man, me and Andrew are both. Me, Andrew, and Marius are all rocking our nerd boners here, while Frank and Trevor are just sitting around looking bored.
Already pre-ordered it in Japanese. I'm going to play through this on day 1.
Yeah.
So, any other comments on this important issue for humankind?
Controversial issue.
I think I'm good.
I think we're good, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. So, next news story. The first trailer for the Persona 3 movie has been unveiled, and it's going to be split in 2 or 3 parts, and the first movie is called Spring of Birth. So, any thoughts on the Persona 3 movie?
Nope.
Not really, no.
Okay. The first key visual novel has been officially translated into English. It's Planetarian, and it has been updated on iOS only at the moment. So this is the first game by Key, which is a highly acclaimed dating sim and visual novel developer in Japan, which has almost all of his game already translated by fans, but this is the first game which has officially been translated, which means we could be saying soon more of the games in English. Any thoughts?
Is there any market for that in the US, really? Or anywhere else in Japan?
There are many fan translations, so I guess there is a market. And I play them, so yeah. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 anime is finally out. Has anyone watched it and has thoughts on it, besides me?
No.
I'm interested to check it out, but I haven't. I still haven't played Devil Survivor 2.
Well, they put about 4 hours of the game into 24 minutes, which says quite a bit. So I hope.
So does it essentially feel like a complete clusterfuck to watch?
Kinda, and they skipped to introduce how the demons became part of their cell phone, so they just had them instead of recruiting the demons. And the main character has, out of nowhere, a strong level 20 demons at level 1, which shouldn't even be possible.
Not to get sidetracked here, but was there a Devil Survivor 1 anime
I was gonna ask that,
I was unaware
no,
of?
Okay.
Come on.
Gotcha.
That's the one I've actually played. But yeah, I don't know. I watched a little of the Persona 4 animation, and I don't know. It just felt a little convoluted and clunky to me. There were cool parts of it. It didn't fit to me. They made the main character really bland and boring, which I guess he kind of was anyway. But I don't particularly find this to be that interesting. Like I'm honestly continually surprised that these animations make money.
I'm really disappointed still that the Persona 2 animation was scrapped because god damn that looked good.
Yeah. So
did you ever see the trailers for that?
I watched it once, but I don't remember clearly right now. So, any other thoughts?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Up to the next news topic. A Steve Jobs manga has been announced and the preview is already out. So this is not normally what we are covering because we aren't about manga and anime, but this is something special because it's Steve Jobs and he died recently. So I guess you probably have thoughts on it.
How does Steve Jobs tie into manga, firstly?
Yes.
They are taking his biography, the official one, which was released shortly after his death, and they are taking it page for page and turning it into a manga.
If there's tentacles, I'll buy it.
My question is, why?
My question is, why make it just a biography and not a crazy shonen manga in which Steve Jobs gets the holy power of the Apple Blade and becomes to fight off the evil Linux hordes, teaming up with Microsoft, his longtime.
Oh, he's gonna find demons warping in from his iPhone. I can see it now.
Because they would get sued.
That'd be amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the preview now, and why?
I like the idea of it. Like, I like the idea of stuff like this. Like, I like graphic novels and comics quite a lot, actually. And I enjoy stuff like this. Is this a common thing at all in Japan to make a manga serialized biography of a person?
Well, not of a person, but they have done stories about companies and such things.
Well, that's the funny thing to me is I know that Japan is a very proud country and they're extremely proud of their technological companies. I find it completely bizarre that they would actually go out of their way, a studio would, and make an anime or a manga about an entirely Western technology company. Like, that just doesn't seem to mesh to me. Something there is very amiss.
I actually disagree because I think, obviously we're talking about this. I think this is the kind of thing that gets to be a big enough thing. Oh my god, they're making a Steve Jobs manga? Like, just by printing it's talked about here.
Macintoshs are very popular in Japan, so Steve Jobs also popular. And a manga is usually done by one person, so there isn't a company behind it really besides the publisher.
Yeah, right. It's much more similar to being an author in America. Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea, honestly. If it were to get localized, I'm not really much for reading like scanlations, but if it gets localized, I might pick up a little bit of it. Like, is it a multi-volume thing, or is it being released all as one big chunk?
It's multi-volume. Every week every month is going to be a new chapter of it. I have posted the link in the description below, and in the Skype call you can check out the first few pictures of the first chapter. So let me know what you think about how they handle his design.
Spoiler alert, Jobs dies in the end.
Oh no!
No.
Jobs dies at the end. Oh god.
Oh. Oh.
Ah,
I never did much like
why.
Steve Jobs,
huh. Well, that's cool.
personally.
Yeah. What else you got for us?
Just want to know why.
So, okay, up to the next news story. Mega Man Maverick Hunter gets an ego shooter,
Huh?
which has been cancelled.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mega Man
Huh.
shooter. Yeah, I didn't see this coming at all. I mean, at least we almost had a new Mega Man game finally.
Yeah, I think this is interesting, as it seems very Metroid Prime-esque from flipping through here, and
Which would have been cool.
that seems like a hell of a change. But didn't Mega Man Legends, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't that have some shooter segments?
Yeah, but it was third person.
That's right, you could snap in the first person to aim in 3D, I believe.
Yeah, but there are many people complaining because this got cancelled. But I personally think those people don't think right, because this would never have sold. Would they have put this out, everyone would have said, what have they done to my precious Mega Man?
Right.
Yeah.
And they Hudson
Looking at these
has
character
done-
designs, I'm getting a serious Bomberman Act Zero vibe
Yeah,
here,
that's
and
what
that's
I
not
wanted
good.
to say. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Hudson put out Hardcore Bomberman, which was also in first person, which was absolutely terrible and everyone hated it. Which was
Right.
basically the exact same, only with bombs.
Yeah.
So, if this wasn't successful, why should this be?
I don't know. I still think just in this time and place, it would have been good to just have it come out as a new Mega Man thing, and the fact that it's being
But everyone would have bashed Capcom in saying, what have they done to my precious Mega Man?
honestly, at this point, I think Capcom's getting more bashing for continuing to cancel Mega Man games than they would for that, because at least this would be something new, and I mean, sure, it's a very different Mega Man experience, but it would at least be something new, and I don't know.
Now that we are talking about canceling Mega Man games, I have another news story. They
Oh, sweet.
canceled a Mega Man MMORPG.
Did this happen a while ago?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow. Yeah, they don't like Mega Man.
Yeah. So, to some happier first-person shooter news, Team Fortress 2 gets Oculus Rift support. We can finally play it in virtual reality.
Oh. I saw the gameplay of that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Oh man.
Hey, you can see all those hats in virtual reality.
It's like the hat's on my head. If I can't get an
The best
Oculus Rift
thing
hat
is-
for my character, I'll be very
Yeah,
disappointed.
that's what I wanted to say. Everyone gets an Oculus Rift hat in game. I already have one.
Yes. Yes. That's awesome. Oh man, yeah, I'm still vaguely interested in the Oculus Rift. Between that and being able to play like Portal 2 on it, oh my god.
Skyrim, Portal 2, Hawken, all that stuff.
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And emulators work. There is already a Virtual Boy emulator, which is the first real 3D Virtual Boy emulator. So, yeah, that's nice. Okay, another happy news story which many people thought was never going to happen. Persona 4 Arena has finally an European release date.
Oh my god, it's still not out
Wow.
Didn't that come out like a year ago here?
Yep,
Oh my
a
god.
year ago. And I actually imported a PS3 because it's the first region-locked PS3 game. So I sold my old one and imported one so I can play this game because I knew the company which was porting it, which is Zen United, and I knew they always take a year or two to get the games over there. So I said, fuck it, I import it. And luckily I was right.
Yeah. Oof, well, I put a little bit of Persona 4 Arena. I'd say I've talked about before how I have no real eye for fighting games, but I can tell it's definitely a very enjoyable experience for anyone who's played those. I can't believe, like, when did it come out in Japan? Because it was a year ago here in America.
2 weeks for America.
Okay. And plus a year for Europe. It's like your Project Rainfall. Project Rainfall has come back to your way. It's like you. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. One thing on the subject of you're talking about scrapped Capcom projects with that Mega Man. Did anyone hear about Resident Evil 1.5 last month?
No.
Well, you guys are all obviously familiar with Resident Evil 1.5, right?
No.
Well, basically, Resident Evil 2 was a month from release back in 1996, and the screenshots, if anyone remembers, looked vastly different from the game we actually ended up receiving. In fact, rather than Claire being in the game, there was a blonde sport bike woman by the name of Elza Walker, who teamed up with Leon Kennedy on his trek through the ravaged Raccoon City. Capcom was not very pleased with the direction the game was going in, thinking it was too similar to the first, and a month before the game was supposed to see its October 1997 release, the game was 96 release, the game was scrapped. And they started again from the beginning. These screens have floated around forever. I know that Crazy Ass Cracker from the forums and I had gawked over these shots forever and were really surprised with the final game when it came out, not seeing these familiar looking rooms. Well, Resident Evil 1.5 is floated around on the internet forever. People have been talking about it, reflecting on these screens, and really just wishing they could play what Capcom had worked on before they decided to choose a different direction for the game. Well, over the past I think it was late last year, a group of people had secured a copy, an actual physical copy of the code of 1.5, which people did not even think was still in circulation. And they are looking to actually complete the game. Now, there was some backdoor politics. Some crazy shit happened. Someone tried to release their work as his own, and because of that, and profiteer off of this. So because of that, the team who had purchased the copy of 1.5 has actually leaked the image file on the horror.com's forums and several other mirror sites for people to download and try on an emulator so they can actually see what the game was all about. Now, this is a really rough, unfinished build, but they hope, and it's full of bugs, but they hope to have the game completed, add storyboard sequences, and it's going to be an awesome insight for any Resident Evil fan who's been pondering what this game was all about, who never got to actually see the end product. And I, for one, am really excited to see what they come up with. This is, 15 years late for me, and I'm amped. I'm really amped.
Cool.
They also released the ROM of the Game Boy game. The Resident Evil on Game Boy.
Gaiden?
I don't know which name it, but it was on the Game Boy and it was a ROM.
It was
Someone
released.
asked for like...
I mean, I've seen it in retail.
No, there was a Game Boy game which is a 3D Resident Evil which was never released.
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about, actually. I do know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually supposed to be like it was a port of the original.
Yeah, with a few extra rooms and bonus weapons and that stuff.
Yeah, I think I saw stuff on that on unseen64.com, and I think there's footage on YouTube for anyone who's interested. But really, anyone who's into
ROM is out right now. You can get it.
Right.
You can play it on the emulator.
Well, yeah, I assume that's where the video from YouTube came from.
Cool.
So really, anyone who's wanting to check this out, I mean, it's a lost piece of Resident Evil history. Stop by the-horror.com and check it out because really, it looks awesome. And like I said, it's really rough, but there's definitely, it seems educational. Check it out.
Check that shit out. Cool. All right, is that it for news, Marius?
Wait a second. He sidetracked me before I could mention the actual date when it gets released. I only could say it gets released, but the actual date is May 10th.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said it was released. I apologize.
No, it's going to get released on May 10th.
Alright.
So that's it for the Japanese and a few American news stories from me.
All right, thank you, foreign correspondent Marius. All right,
Not only one foreign country.
Yeah,
Many.
yeah, just the one. Yeah, no, you have Marius bots stationed in every other country. They report to you via hive mind. I love this fiction I'm creating here.
Marius is the Geth.
There you go.
Copyrighted
Yeah.
since my birth.
Yeah. No one even built the robots. They just inexplicably appeared. So this is an interesting mythos we're creating here. So we're kind of winding the show down. We got time to talk about what we've all been playing.
You know, he gets cloned. I get killed by fucking shower wolves. What's up with that?
Oh, God.
We have to do some serious reevaluating of our roles here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
But you know, you almost didn't show up tonight, and I already had something to say when you didn't show up. I can tell you what it would have been. You would have been taken away by aliens, and they would have played around with your brain. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what would have happened to you if
No
you wouldn't have
probes.
shown.
Nobody
No
will get the shower wolves joke, and that's okay, because Andrew doesn't either. Isn't that right, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, so Trevor, what have you been playing, buddy?
I've been playing. I totally had what I was going to say in my head, and then it just went like. Oof.
There were words there.
There were words there.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Guild Wars 2 lately. I got that on sale just the other weekend. It was like $20 off. So I went ahead and said, screw it. Downloaded it, and I'm loving it. Like, I played World of Warcraft like 7 years ago, and it was kind of eh. But I love the gameplay, the graphics, the personal story of your character actually makes you feel more involved, and it's a really fun game.
How exactly? Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about Guild Wars. How exactly do they integrate the existence of like a more personal story into the expansiveness of that kind of game?
Basically, every actual story mission takes you into an instance. So basically, it takes you out of the main world to do your own story mission. And if you have a party, it'll also bring your party along with you.
Huh.
So
Okay.
you still don't, like, whenever you're doing your story mission, you don't see anyone else but whoever might happen to be in your party.
Cool.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
you
that's
just run
pretty
around the
awesome.
world and help people out. Oh, and, yeah, I really love the, like, every now and then, the just, like, random world events will happen, and you can go join in, and basically it kind of grades you on how well you did with how much you participated, and you get experience and karma based on, how much you contributed to completing the event, whether you succeed or fail.
That's cool. I like that kind of system.
Yeah.
I've never been much for MMOs really, but that's interested me. A lot of people have had a lot of good things to say about that.
Yeah.
You been playing anything else?
Man, there was. I never got a chance to play Ocarina of Time on the N64, so I've been reliving. I guess not really reliving, but revisiting that on 3DS.
Andrew just got the hugest boner.
Oh, I did.
And that's
Looked at
pretty
my
much
5
it.
copies of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
So, what are you thinking of it?
Of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
It's okay. It definitely doesn't hold your hand, and I've gotten stuck in a few spots.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of dumb because I'm still stuck like early on, but it's still like the gameplay is solid, and I think the controls are a bit improved over the N64, at least from what I remember. Like
Are you
9 years
still
ago.
tight, or have you already time traveled in the game?
I just got to the Goron village.
Oh, not that far.
Oh,
Oh.
that's
Damn,
like
stone
1 hour.
nipples.
You're
It's like
2
1
hours
hour
in.
in.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how well you know the game. I don't know it very well. So.
yeah,
I
Literal-
completed
That's
it
true.
I completed it with every heart in Skulltula in 30 hours.
I literally could get to Gora Mountain in 30 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's because you play
Yeah.
that game every day.
Jay, shut up.
It's true. It's true.
I do have to add, though, I feel kind of bad that, you're just experiencing the game now, because I can think of very precious few games that hit me as hard as seeing the opening of that game and going out on Epona and running through Hyrule Field for the first time. Like, that was back when that game came out in '98. That was just unreal. It looked incredible, and man, I wish you'd experienced for all it was worth back then. That's all.
It's still worth a lot though. I only played through all of it on the 3DS as well. I had it on Virtual Console, never beat it on there. Personally, it's not my favorite Zelda game, but I love Zelda. Legend of Zelda is probably my favorite game universe ever. But
what's your favorite game in the series?
Wind Waker. I love Wind Waker. But
for me, it's Majora's Mask and then Wind Waker.
I don't know why, but I just couldn't get into Majora's Mask like everyone else did. I love it in concept. I just couldn't get into it.
Wind Waker I loved up until the Triforce shattered. I had to sail around every inch of ocean to recover those pieces. At that point, I kind of said I really don't have time for this.
Did you know you can buy a card from Tingle, which tells you where the pieces are?
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, 10 years too late for that, my friend.
I thought
just talk to Tingle if you're stuck. He will help you out.
It seems like everyone else hated that. To me, that was just more fun exploration of the sea and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One of my favorite memories of Ocarina of Time was being a child, playing the game until getting to the water temple, then starting over, and then getting to the game at the water temple, and then starting over. And doing that for probably a good 2 years until I finally beat it.
Yeah, I will say that's the one lucky thing about me and Trevor playing it first on the 3DS is not having to have as much problems with the water temple.
You lucky soul.
Have you actually played the Master Quest?
I have, yeah, not all the way through.
I played it back on GameCube until the Ghost Temple. I don't know the name.
The Shadow Temple? Yeah.
Shadow Temple, yeah.
Best dungeon in the game.
Yeah, I have the Master Quest disc, but I never popped it in, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, they had Master Quest on the 3DS version. That was a lot of fun. I never beat that, though. All right, anything else, Trevor?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Andrew, you're the new person. I should have had you go first, but I'm a dick, so I didn't. I'm so sorry.
Oh, shut up.
It's okay. Better late than never, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You're my sloppy seconds. All right, Andrew, hit at.
Wait, I can already tell you what he played. He played the new Rayman Legends game.
No!
Die! No!
Die!
But no, buddy, what you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I just got to High Ranks Quest, which, playing older games in the series, I got past a few walls that always caused me trouble earlier on in earlier games. I actually just picked the 3DS version up tonight, so I can transfer the data back and forth. Always playing Fire Emblem Awakening because it's so amazing and solid, and
good choice.
Yeah,
I just want more and more of it. And the other game I've been playing is Banjo-Tooie, because I have to just relive it again. Because a few weeks ago I powered through Banjo-Kazooie and beat it in 9 hours flat. So
wow,
a single day, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I'm impressed.
That on my ass. Oh yeah, that's 100% Banjo-Kazooie, and the day we started up.
What's up next? Conker's Bad Fur Day?
I actually have Live and Reloaded sitting on my shelf. I gotta go back. I'll probably finish Banjo-Tooie, then endure through Nuts and Bolts.
Yeah.
Are you going to do Stop and Swap?
Oh, don't get me started on Stop and Swap.
He already read about that in something related to him being a person here now.
Yeah,
we'll see
don't
soon.
get me started.
They brought that back for the Xbox Live Arcade versions.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he knows.
And you
believe
get
me, I know.
DLC. You get DLC in Nuts and Bolts as reward. Isn't that nice?
Oh, yeah.
Not at all.
Oh boy, more cars.
My ass and you frustration.
So Andrew, going back to Monster Hunter, have you played the 3DS version yet?
No, actually, it's just sitting by me. I mean, I didn't get home till 9, so it's sitting on me. But it's basically the same game. I think the only flaw, because my stepfather has it, the only flaw of the 3DS version, I would think, is one, if you don't have the second analog stick, which is a big problem for XL users. I guess controlling the bow is a pain in the ass if you're a gun user, and swimming sucks.
Mm.
And I think the only other flaw is there's no online play with the 3DS version.
That's weird to me.
Which to me sucks. But
Well, they have to sell the Wii U version somehow.
which I can play online with the Wii U version. I'm totally fine with that. The Wii U version is definitely the better version in my opinion, and still have awesome.
Well, in Japan, most people love to play Monster Hunter with their friends and colleagues, and when they have time.
Yeah, it's more
So-
like for them, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
love taking it with them.
But I
I
mean,
know-
for me, if I'm gonna play it online, I might as well play it online on my big TV instead of on my little 3DS anyway.
Yeah,
I
because
know-
you don't have friends which are into that stuff.
Well, no, I do, but like if I want to play online, I'm saying with just a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I know the next game in the series, Monster Hunter 4, they did confirm the 3DS will have online play, so
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting. But other than that, that's all I've been playing.
All right, Frank, how about you? What you been doing?
Well, ever since seeing the absolutely incredible looking Metal Gear Solid 5 trailer, I just was hit with a huge wave of nostalgia, and I had to jump back into some Metal Gear Solid and start, fighting nuclear proliferation and kicking robot ass and taking down a cast of zany villains. So I jumped right into Metal Gear Solid 4. But since then, my TV's kind of been usurped by my wife and my son, so I had to move on to HD collection for the Vita. And it's funny. I have such a love-hate relationship with Metal Gear. I've been into the originals ever since the Nintendo version, actually, and I even like the shitty Snake's Revenge, to tell you the truth. But it's funny because I love Metal Gear as a universe. I love the stories, but I have found that it feels to me like Sons of Liberty and Metal Gear Solid 3 are frankly completely unplayable. The controls are just so unintuitive. If you have to hold 4 buttons down to ready your gun and shoot it, there's serious fucking design issues there. But for all it's worth, I mean, I've had some headaches trying to relive the glory days of my Metal Gear Solid enjoyment. But for the most part, I don't know. I've been kind of with it and enjoying it for what it's worth, going through the story, and I'm about to wrap up Snake Eater, so that's pretty rad. And I'll move on to Sons of Liberty from there. Aside from that, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I meant to have my review up last week, but things have been kind of crazy at the homestead. But it's pretty stellar. I was a big fan of the original, and this is everything I could want and more. The only thing about Dark Moon that I find disappointing is I really liked the unique ghosts that you would find in the first Luigi's Mansion, who you had kind of a bit of a puzzle to solve and capture. You didn't really see that so much in Dark Moon. You have more boss encounters, but these unique ghosts are kind of few and far between, and that's a little disappointing. But other than that, I love the variety in the mansions. The puzzles just going through the mansions are pretty clever. And I don't know, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think it is probably the killer app for the 3DS right now.
Cool. So the first one, I never played the original Luigi's Mansion. The first one was pretty much all in one mansion, right? And this one's
That's
like
correct.
6, I think.
5, I believe.
Okay, so you have a lot more wild, different environments and stuff, right?
Right.
How is that
absolutely.
explained plot-wise? Because in the first one, Luigi won a mansion. Is he now rich and bought like 10 mansions?
Well, no. Basically, EGAD, the Dark Moon, which has placated all the ghosts and got them in a pretty mellow state, think of it like Ghost Nip, has come crashing down upon the ghosts' heads. And now they're all in a frenzy. This is all the work of King Boo. And Professor EGAD has called you back because you are the premier Ghostbuster in town, evidently, to whip up the mess, clean up the ghosts, and find the pieces of the Dark Moon.
Neat. Yeah, I've been hearing some pretty good stuff about that. Mario games aren't too much my forte. I would say there's a couple other killer apps besides just that, but I've been hearing good stuff. Definitely worth checking out. I may get that at some point.
Yeah, and lastly, I've been sinking some time into, believe it or not, don't throw your tomatoes at me here, but bear with me, Resident Evil 6.
Oh no.
Guys, it's not as bad as you think.
It's worse.
It's actually Co-op has actually been pretty enjoyable. I've been playing with Luke Nukem from the forums, and I've been having fun with it. I am kind of irked by the minor things. It feels a little more arcadey. I didn't like the fact you go into one specific area, and not that you didn't see this ahead of time, but before you know for certain it is what it is, you see a prompt on the top of the screen. Explore the secret laboratory, even though at this point you don't yet know that is a laboratory and it hasn't been stated. That kind of stuff feels pretty cheap and silly, and I don't know. It's not that the Resident Evil story has ever been this tremendous, work of art, but I enjoyed it for what it was in the first few games up to about 3. I mean, there's a pretty cool mythos to it. There's a lot of characters you like seeing, and it's a cool universe. And to see shit like that just kind of marginalize it rubs me the wrong way. But aside from that, I mean, it's a tight co-op shooter. I probably wouldn't play it solo, but for what it's worth, I'm getting some enjoyment out of it.
Cool. So would you say you're liking that more or less than Revelations, which you say is the superior game?
Oh, so much less than Revelations. That's
good. Correct answer.
This is not a Resident Evil to me, but It is a satisfying co-op shooter.
Yeah,
and it's actually had a couple freaky moments, more so than 5, though I did think 5 is a better game.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely advocate. I feel like Revelations was kind of in a not very well publicized game when it came out. Like it kind of just was hyped up until it came out, but then no one played it. And then I feel like 6 coming out just gave everything that had come out in the last year a bad name.
Right.
So a lot of people just assumed the 3DS one must be bad too.
Yeah, and you can blame that on the initial very small install base of the 3DS.
Yeah, definitely.
But this May, it's coming to the Wii U, PSN, and Xbox.
God, I'm so excited.
A lot of people are going to enjoy an enhanced port. It'll be interesting to see how the 3DS only features are implemented, or if they're completely excised from the total package. But I think that fans are in for a real treat, because it really harkens back to the earlier games. It has a great deal of suspense. The atmosphere is spot on. And I think it's got some of the cooler monster designs in recent memory in the series. And I'm really I'm eager to hear what other fans think of the game when it hits in May.
Yeah, there's some really cool design and stuff in there. All right, so that's it for you, Frankie?
Yes, sir.
Frankie, boy. All right. Marius, you're up. What have you been playing lately?
So, first off, I have been playing Hatsune Miku Project Diva F for PS3, which just got released, which is a port from the PS Vita game. And it's a pretty good and hard rhythm game, especially on the harder difficulties. And I have been playing Bomberman for Famicom, the original one, which was never released in Europe, sadly. You got it as Bomberman for the NES. Then I have been playing Neo, Bomberman, and Francis, shut up with your neo-Nazi jokes. That doesn't fit Bomberman.
Man, no one was even going to say that until you did.
Okay. Neo Bomberman, Neo stands for Neo Geo. So, okay.
Oh, I wouldn't go for one that easy. Come on, give me more credit than that.
Then I'm playing Minecraft, which soon probably is going to get an Oculus Rift port. I can't wait.
Is it really?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ooh. I'm getting an Oculus Rift. BRB.
I guess we can just say that we're always playing Minecraft every week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think the longest I've gone without being on Minecraft on something is like maybe a month.
I have actually in server, and if you want to play, just tell me and
maybe I will.
The address.
Right,
okay, cool. Then I have been playing Metal Slug 1, 3, 4, and 6.
Oh man.
You're making me proud. Are you playing it in the MVS cab or?
Yeah, on my MVS cab.
Excellent.
Nice.
Right answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have been playing Rewrite, and I completed it 100%, which took me more than 100 hours. And it's a visual novel by Key.
Huh.
Alright, I have a question for you, Marius. Which is better, 2 or X? Choose your answer wisely.
2.
die in a car. That slowdown, man.
Well, I haven't experienced any slowdown on my system.
Are you talking about Metal Slug?
Yeah.
You are the one person in the entire Neo Geo universe who has not experienced a slowdown in Metal Slug 2.
Unless he's playing on PAL, which is already slowed down.
Okay.
Cool. Anything else for you, Marius?
No, I haven't been playing anything else.
Alright, well, I've been playing a lot of stuff I reviewed. I've been playing Fire Emblem Awakening, which I reviewed, but that game is, like, Frank was saying that Luigi's Mansion is the killer app for the 3DS. I challenge you against that, sir, because Fire Emblem Awakening is, in my opinion, the game to get the system for right now. Like, oh man, I talk about this in the article, how, like, if you're one of those people who, like, kind of want to wait until there's that one game that defines the system for you, I honestly think it's come in the form of the new Fire Emblem game, and I've never even played most of the rest of that series. Like, I played Sacred Stones only because I was an ambassador on my 3DS. I actually played through most of that and liked it, but I'm relatively new to the series, and goddamn, that game's fun. And Andrew can attest to this. He and I both been just playing this like mad. And after writing the review, I had gone on this 4-hour binge of playing, not realizing that I apparently hadn't saved it all during that time. So I turn on my 3DS again, and I'm like 5 chapters behind where I had been, and I had to do it all over again.
That's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
Do you play it in the I don't want my characters to die mode?
Right now, yes. As soon as I beat the game on this mode, which I almost had, but as soon as I do, I'm gonna do a game on classic mode, because that's apparent. I'm seeing more and more how that's really the way the game is meant to be played, just in terms of the number of characters you amass throughout that game. And so I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna finish it on the mode I've been doing it on first, but yeah, I can't wait to do that. And that's really good. I've been pairing up my characters, having them get married, and then through wacky time shenanigans, you can recruit their kids. So that's neat and not creepy at all. So yeah, I've played a ton of that. Definitely, seriously, I don't care if you have never played any of these games. If you have a 3DS, at least play the demo and check it out, because it's fantastic.
I agree.
Fun with that. Yeah. And then BioShock Infinite, the other thing I reviewed. Oh my god.
Oh, no, don't mention it. I want it so bad.
Oh man, he doesn't even have it, and he's just getting instant boners just because he played it at my house once. So BioShock Infinite is... Oh man, like... There's so much I can say about this game.
Destroys canon in the BioShock games.
I'm sorry?
It destroys the canon in the BioShock games.
No spoilers, please.
No, it doesn't actually. Well, okay, no. I know what you're saying.
It's not a spoiler. BioShock always was marketed as it could have happened in real life. And that's the first title which isn't possible in real life and hasn't.
No,
Explain to me how the hell someone could actually build Rapture.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there have been extremely many theories and things with the 60s and stuff where they said they have created they have created a kind of jar which could bear this pressure. I could send you the game theory video later.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're just saying there's more realism, there's more, like, explanation for science.
They're both pure fantasy.
Selling point.
They're both complete science fiction games. Neither of them are really meant to be realistic, but they do both have... Infinite has just as much grounding for, like... It's like, there's an explanation to how the chemical... I forget what exactly it is, but there's this special kind of chemical pumped into the air that allows the whole city to fly. And they do explain that at one point in some audio logs. I think it's just as bit as plausible within its own fiction as the original BioShock. I wouldn't call either of them it could have happened in real life. But both games, I mean, man, I talked about this in my review, how, like, there's this debate of whether it's better than the first one. I honestly think that objectively it is better than the original BioShock. Whether you'll like it more is really up to you, because I think in a lot of ways they're on par with each other. Personally, just going off right now, I think I enjoy the first one a little more just for the way it builds its world. Like, they're different narratives. Infinite is very much about the main story. Everything you learn about the world is incorporated directly into this main story. Well, in the first Bioshock, you kind of had all these, like we've talked about this before, how like in that game you go through section of the game, and each section has its own story because your character doesn't really become important to the story really until very late into the game. So until that point, you learn about all these stories of the crazy doctor in this one district and the actor dude who has you go and assassinate all these other actors in this one district. And you sort of learn all those other stories that amass into this conception of Rapture that then feeds into the big twist near the end. And this game's a little different than that. I think both games are great. Personally, I prefer the narrative in the original Bioshock a little bit. But, oh my god, Infinite is so good, you guys.
I know.
Like,
I want it.
Oh, man.
Is it better as System Shock?
I have never played either System Shock game, and I need to. It's a crime that I haven't. But, and the thing is, there have been some people who have voiced, alright, there's a couple complaints about the game that normally when someone has a completely different opinion of a game than me, I'm fine with it, like, whatever, you didn't see this the same way. There's some stupid opinions in this game, okay? Like, oh man.
That's a fanboy speaking right here.
No, it's, alright, so yes, but I'm speaking, I know I'm sounding that way, but the thing is...
Freedom of speak.
Freedom of speech,
a fanboy's opinion is the following. It's freedom of speech. Fuck that shit.
Damn
That's
right.
what he's basically saying.
No, alright, so here's what I'm saying is that there are people just... If you're listening to a lot of people's comments on it, negative comments, I know I would normally never say this about even something that I'm a fan of. Even like a Pokemon game that someone doesn't like, fine, listen to the opinions of the person who doesn't like it just as much as the person who does like it. But honestly, take the negative opinions of this game with a grain of salt. There is one part of the game that, personally, I never even considered having a problem with, that a lot of people have been having problems with, that I can sort of see. But there are a lot of people who are complaining about this game that just, I feel like, aren't getting it. As pretentious as that sounds, it's really the case here. Because this, oh my god, guys, I can't even say like what makes this game so great. So just go read my review if you haven't yet, because I put it a lot more eloquently there than I can in person, because I just start bumbling over my words and drooling over the damn thing because it's perfect. So that's my rant about that. But the one other thing I've been playing is a little bit of Lost Odyssey, which I alluded to earlier. Oh my god. So I picked up this game a while ago for like $6 at GameStop, and I was like, oh, I wonder why this is $6 at GameStop. I'll tell you why it's $6 at GameStop. It's not good. That's all. That is all I have to say about it. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, because I didn't like the last story, and this is the same kind of... I don't know. It was not even the same problems I had with the last story, even though it's the same creator. It's just it doesn't do a very good job of explaining itself. I don't know. I can't even tell you why I don't like it. I just had this overarching unpleasant feeling through the entire like 2 or 3 hours I played in Lost Odyssey. And I think that's all I've been playing. One other thing, not a game, but very gaming related. I finally saw Wreck-It Ralph, which yep, and that sure is a movie about video games. It's not the goddamn messiah of all film for the rest of time. It's not really the Roger Rabbit of video games. It's a good film. All right. So I go on Tumblr a lot, and people on Tumblr, and Andrew can attest to this, and I think and Trevor can too. People on Tumblr, when they see something they like, tend to just blow up and call it Jesus. Doesn't matter what it is, it's Jesus.
Yeah.
And people were just revering this movie as just being the best film of the year, best film of the decade. It was a good kids movie about video games. It was a very competent children's
It wasn't really about video games. It was a good with video games, but it hasn't really. It isn't about them.
It was more competent with its subject matter than a lot of children's films I've seen recently and in my time being a child. It was a very good children's movie. Personally, I don't know if I really attached to it much beyond that. It was an enjoyable time, though. I don't know.
I do have to say, there were some clever Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So you both saw it at once.
Did you notice Aerith Lives spray painted the subway walls?
Yeah.
There was a Leroy Jenkins reference.
Oh yeah.
No, where was that?
It was in graffiti on the same.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And also, I was surprised at some of the Badanon meeting visitors, like Michaela from Shining Force is actually there, which really caught me off guard, along with the boss of Altered Beast. It was nice to see some of those games get some credit on there, as well as, usual games you'd expect, like, Mario, Q*bert, Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of what people loved about it was the references and stuff like that, and I enjoyed that, but that's not what makes a movie for me, or any kind of media. But even beyond that, it was still fun. Like, I don't know, it was good.
Yeah, see,
So you're basically saying, if I make a movie which does mention all the BioShock games and that movie wouldn't be your favorite of all time?
No, it honestly. Well, all right. Are you saying okay? Are you saying is in the world of BioShock, or just has a bunch of references to BioShock? 'Cause that's the difference I have there.
Yeah.
It has to be a good movie first and foremost.
It would. Oh man, yeah. But no, I feel like there's a difference between making a movie set in a world of a game to making a movie with a bunch of video game references. Wreck-It Ralph is a movie.
Well, have you guys heard of the Mass Effect movie which came out?
Yeah, Paragon Lost, right?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yep.
But you know why it's horrible? Because Funimation just went over to production IG, slapped the money on the table and the game, and said, make this shit.
Make it hard.
And they didn't even decide to do it, they just were forced to it, basically.
Yeah.
And so they had zero passion for the entire project.
Much like the ending of Mass Effect 3, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Discussion. Yeah. Oh, so that's me, and I think that just about covers it for tonight. We have been on a long news adventure tonight. We have talked of many things, and I think it is time for us to wind down. So, thank you for listening to the... what? Sorry.
Okay.
Are you doing
Next
this? Next
time, we are going to talk about the Super Nintendo, everyone.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You people probably can't wait for it. We finally are going to do it. We have teased it for a long time, and it's finally happening.
It's going to be the best HeyPoorPodcast ever.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Deep fried gold.
That was totally not an inside joke. All right. So.
Okay, so take us out, Jay, and tell them where they can find this podcast.
Well, don't mind if I do, Marius. You can find us on Facebook at, I forget what the actual URL is, but we have a Facebook group. You can find us on HeyPoorPlayer on Facebook. You can find us at HeyPoorPlayer.com, obviously. I don't know why I didn't say that first. On Twitter at HeyPoorPlayer. Tumblr, which is hppofficial.tumblr.com. We even have a subreddit, which Andrew has been working really hard to put stuff up both on there and elsewhere on Reddit, so check us out there too, which is, is it just reddit.com/r/HeyPoorPlayer, or what would we make it?
That's exactly what it is.
Is that what it was? Okay. All right, so do that. And what am I forgetting here? Check out Marius's site, rushroomtomatoes.com, and of course check out HeyPoorPlayer for all our stuff. We have the reviews for BioShock Infinite and Fire Emblem Awakening. We have a good Tomb Raider review up, which was a cool guest review. Check back for Andrew's mysterious thing that's going to go unnamed for now, that's getting put up hopefully soon.
And you can download this very podcast you're listening to right now on iTunes, Stitcher, RSS, and you can listen to it on YouTube.
You can do all of those things, and leave a review for us wherever you choose to download it from, because we like knowing that people actually listen to these.
And we like 5-star ratings.
5 stars
Especially
or no
those.
stars. 5 stars, best star. All right, and I guess that concludes another wonderful, wonderful episode of the HeyPoorPodcast.
Peace.